What's up, nerds? My name is Paul, and tonight I'm going to teach you how to make the Manhattan Martini. Yeah. The reason I'm going to teach you how to make this one is because it's like my go-to martini. It's the go-to drink that I, like if I go out to a bar, this is the drink that I always order. It used to be the old-fashioned, and I had this personal journey of mine to figure out like what was the best old-fashioned in Hollywood. And the answer to that was the old-fashioned at Cantor's, but then they changed the recipe, so now it's not the best Manhattan. I think they probably got to an endorsement deal from Jack Daniels. So their amazing Manhattan is now a pretty mediocre one. But at least I enjoyed it in the time that I enjoyed it. So what are you gonna do? And I'm not refinding another one. I've moved on to the Manhattan. The Manhattan's great. If I go to a bar, I'm gonna go get a Manhattan just because it's pretty difficult to fuck up. But if he fucks that up, then I'll switch to gin and tonics because that's impossible to fuck up. The other reason that I picked this one is because this is my go-to drink and the one that, like, even if I'm at home and I'm working on, like, if I just want to make myself a bunch of drinks, I'll make this one because it's easy and it's good and I just like it. But the other reason that I picked it is because it's gonna be my birthday. This episode's probably going to come out right next to my birthday. My birthday is on Sunday. This is going to come out on Monday. Hopefully, if I'm not too drunk and all over the place, I should be able to get all the editing done on Monday. You've seen how inconsistent I am with these videos. It's not all that inconsistent. I make these as I can. The series has a pretty high overhead. I do what I can. What was I saying? Oh yeah, nothing. So yeah, Manhattan, my favorite. You know, historically, cocktail-wise, martinis and Manhattans I consider a Manhattan in the same vein as the martini. Manhattans use whiskey, martinis use gin, and by a lesser extent, vodka, because vodka and gin are essentially the same thing. And in the race for the king of all cocktails, it was pretty neck and neck between the Manhattan and the gin martini, and for a really long time there's the Manhattanite set and then there's the martini set, and then around the 1960s the martini set essentially won because internationally everyone drinks martinis. America wise it was all Manhattans. You know, I live in a pretty metropolitan city. I've never really heard of, you know, someone outside the United States drinking Manhattans, but if you're outside the United States and you drink Manhattans, totally tell me. But mostly it's a martini set. So it was neck and neck for a really long time, and then I probably blame James Bond for the martini superiority over the Manhattan. They're both fine. I find Manhattans far more consistent than martinis and benefiting from the wealth of scotch. I'm sure there's wonderful, at least in this country, although there are some really good gins popping up in this country, and there are some amazing vodkas popping up in the United States. United States, I feel like, is really specializing in corn-based vodkas, which you would imagine aren't good, but are actually excellent. Corn-based vodkas turn out to be some of the smoothest vodkas you'll ever have in your whole life. You know, Tito's is an amazing vodka that has Tito isn't that really great of a name pedigree-wise, but it is an amazing, very incredibly smooth vodka. And if you're gonna go with vodkas, go with apple and then potato vodka. Essentially, because apples originate from Kazakhstan. When you make vodka, the correct way to make it is with apples, but potatoes are much easier to grow, and potatoes actually originate in North America. From the Americas. It's kind of, I don't remember, it's not debatable. I just don't remember whether it's North America or South America where potatoes are. It's more likely that it originated in South America. And you can get like really cool, like purple potatoes, which are very good actually. This is a really weird tangent I went on, but I'm gonna keep going with it. In vodkas, I'd probably rank apple is the best. I've had apple vodkas, they're amazing. Like that's the kind of vodka you want to buy. I put American corn vodka right under that because it's so smooth. And then potato vodka under that. No, potato vodka is at the bottom. And then you have gins that are based off of grains, which is fine. I don't think I wouldn't drink a grain vodka because I don't even know if that's a thing, but grain alcohol all by itself is not a thing you want to drink. That's like the bottom of the bucket. Just like raw grain alcohol, you don't want to drink that. Shit. Like that's like a general rule of like that you don't want, like raw grain alcohol, that is harsh. That's like white lightning. But yeah, it's gonna be my birthday soon. No idea how old I'm gonna be, and it really doesn't matter. If it doesn't matter to me, then it doesn't really matter at all. But yeah, Manhattans, they're great, very difficult to fuck up. It functions essentially like a martini, so it's instead of dry vermouth, you're gonna use sweet vermouth, and then instead of gin, you're gonna be using whiskey. I'm using bourbon because I love bourbon because I'm an American. You could probably use a rye with this. If you're gonna go with rye, I would go with American rye over Canadian. Canadian rye doesn't have the, America is actually pretty stringent on its whiskeys. To be called bourbon, there's a lot of rules on that, and then to be legally called rye, there's a lot of rules on that too. So I'd go with American rye over Canadian. The percentage of actual rye within Canadian rye, you could like have it be like 5% rye and they'll call it rye because there's really no legislation on that. I don't know how long I am in this video because this guy right here did not mean to do that. Hold on. Get out of there, you bitch. Yeah. All right. So to make this guy, it's good. Anyway, hold on. Yeah. That's a Luxardo cherry. I'll get into Luxardo cherries in like a second, but let's go through what you're gonna need to make this. So again, sweet vermouth, you're gonna use about half an ounce of that. It's gonna be bourbon. I don't know why I'm hiding the thing. You can totally not see what the label is, even though I really love this bourbon. But you're gonna need, I'm gonna tell you to use 2 ounces of it. It's 1.5 to 2 ounces of whiskey. I'm using 2 because that's what tastes good to me. I maybe start off with 1.5 ounces of whiskey. I'm also using bourbon. Bourbon's a little stronger. And then after that, you're not gonna need it. The garnish for this one is going to be cherries. Usually I'll use normally it's a maraschino cherry. Normally I use black cherries to give it a little more dimension and flavor. I don't particularly like maraschino cherries because they're kind of waxy and sugary and they're like nothing. And so I go with black cherries to give it like a dimension of flavor again. Or I'll go with these guys, which are Luxardo cherries, which are amazing. They kind of melt in your mouth and they're great. But they're also like $20 a bottle, so they're great. They're great. Honestly, for $20 a bottle, I'd probably recommend just getting a glass of black cherries. And if you want to upgrade. Yeah, these are Luxardo cherries. They're a luxury item, but they're great. And I love them. Also in this recipe, a lot of times you'll see bitters put into this. I reject putting bitters into this cocktail because much like a martini, it's about getting alcohol and then taking off the bite of the whiskey or whatever other alcohol. For the gin, it's taking off the bite of the gin. So the real point is to put the vermouth in, take that off as much as you can so that you're using as little vermouth as possible so that you're just getting the raw alcohol. It's the most minimalist drink that you can ever make. So, and adding another ingredient to that is wrong. I'm pretty sure the reason the Manhattan was made in America. So the whiskeys that you were getting at the time were kind of real rough and raw. These weren't barrel aged for 5 years. These were essentially colored white lightnings. They were real rough, so you'd have to use much more vermouth. And if you're using sweet vermouth, then that makes the drink a lot sweeter than it should be. So then you have to use bitters to take off that sweetness. It's the exact reason that you use bitters in a old fashioned because it's like 1 to 2 cubes of sugar in that. So you have to take off the sugar's covering up the bite, but then you have to also take down the sweetness of the sugar. So that's why you use bitters. I don't use bitters in my Manhattans because the bourbon that I use is it's strong, but it's incredibly smooth, so I don't need it. I'm not gonna put bite into a drink that I'm trying to take the bite out of. That's insane. So let's get down to making this guy before I go horse in the mouth from talking. So take a shaker. It's whiskey. It's not an aromatic, so you can shake it. If you want to stir it, you can stir it. Shaking's easier. We're gonna do 2 ounces. Unum. Some of that's fell out, but that's duo. And then 1/2 ounce of vermouth. 1/2 ounce of vermouth. And then cap. Boom. So yeah, you just shake it up a bunch. Take out the cap of this guy. Luxardo cherries are kind of in the syrup. You can only put 1 Luxardo cherry in this. If you put 3, I might actually put a shake of bitter, like 1 shake of bitters in it, just to even it all out. Only because again, it's caked in syrup. So, and then I pour that over. The reason, normally you would put the cherry in last, but because again there's that syrup in it, I want to disperse that syrup so it doesn't hit the bottom of the thing. And there you go, a Manhattan. Just find a good par, and find a guy who actually knows what he's doing. Or a girl. Yeah, order Manhattan. If you want, you can wish me a happy birthday. October 23rd, 1987. You can figure out how old I am. I don't much really care. Also, I love this jacket. Jacket's great. I bought it for $5, got a table to fit me. I look fucking amazing in it. I've always looked amazing in it. And I love you. But anyway, Alan's Kramer's Unlimited Margarita Madness. God, that was a great party.